Hello, how's it going? I gotta say thank you to everybody that's been watching this series so far. It's been going pretty good. Obviously, I'm not made of money. I'm just working with what I have. So it's slowly coming together. We did the headliner. We got it running. We cleaned out the back. Fixed a parasitic draw. Today I kind of wanted to look at a big issue, which is the rust. I just kind of want to look and see where it's really bad. I mean, obviously the rockers, the cab corners, this is pretty nasty. Also, we gotta address the trim. I'll show you guys here in a second. But I also wanted to ask for feedback. So when I show you the trim, I got a question about that, but also is there anything else you guys want to see? Any questions for me, concerns? But then I gotta ask you guys some questions as well, so I'll pop you off the tripod and bring you over here and kind of show you the nasty rust on the rockers, the cab corners. And we're gonna take a marker and kind of mark everything that I want to fix. I don't want this to be a show truck. I just want it to be okay, I'm gonna start driving it here probably within the next month or so. And I just want it to be okay. I'm gonna work on it while I'm driving it. So it definitely doesn't need to be perfect. But here, come over here. I'll show you kind of what I'm looking at. Okay, I got the flash on. Hopefully it doesn't make this look too bad. This piece of trim is fine. There was chrome that went all along here. This is pretty nasty. Some bubbles right in here too. So I blew a tire, and funny enough, there's an awful tire on this corner right now. But I blew a tire, and then I quickly went to the junkyard and got another tire. It's worn out, so we're gonna get a new one. But I blew the tire, and it ripped that piece of chrome out, and it just chewed all this up. Chewed up all the fender here. So all that'll kind of need to be, I don't know how deep it is, but all of that's gonna need to be just kind of sanded down, and we'll probably put some primer and stuff over it. See how bad it actually is. It does need a new inner fender, because this got chewed up when the tire exploded too. Missing a piece of trim here, which is kind of the reason why I'm just gonna take all of the trim off. It's missing it in some spots, and then also the guy I bought it from was an old farmer dude, and he just fired these screws into the trim straight into the body. And I'm not sure how bad that's gonna look underneath. We're gonna find out. But man, he did it on both sides, just random screws. These are flatheads. This is a Phillips. There's screws in that back one too. There's kind of a chip in the door there. That's not too bad. This is pretty nasty. So obviously it needs completely new rockers. Yeah, that's really bad. Completely new cab corners. This is, yeah, is not good. Not good. The other side's even worse. The other side is completely blown through. That's not terrible. It's not completely rotted through, but it is still not great. Let's go back to this fender. It's really not too bad. It's got a little bit of like chippage going on. So there's some bubbles right here. Kind of big, bubbly, nasty right here. Again, screws in the trim, front and back. Let me bring you around to the other side. We'll look at it. Okay, so also screws fired into the trim here, straight into the body. The fender, little spot there, a little bit of bubbly here. This is a missing piece. There weren't any screws, or actually look, there was a screw holding it in, right there. And this cab corner is deleted, you know, it's just gone. So, new cab corner, definitely a new rocker. Oh no, ooh, yeah, no good. So, it's self-removing. Hopefully it's not really into the floor pan. So, where I live in the Midwest, they salt the roads and all the salt ends up getting like scooped off onto the side of the road. So this is the passenger side, and it just flings salt all up on the side, the passenger side of the vehicles, and they just get rotten. So even where like those screws got fired in, you can see it's all bubbly up here, and you can see bubble at the bottom and rust dripping down. So another reason why the trim is coming off. Alright, well, let me grab a screwdriver and see if we can even get these screws out and see how bad it looks underneath. Okay, I grabbed a couple of flatheads. See if these will even twist out of here. Kinda doubt it. I mean, it's going. See how bad it looks underneath. I don't think this side will be as bad as the other side. But I'm just wondering, like, if it's just like little pinholes underneath, should I just like sand it down, try to get it down to bare metal, and just like Bondo these tiny little holes? Or I have a small welder, like a wire welder, that it doesn't have gas. So I wouldn't think it would like blow it through and make a bigger hole. I don't know. I'm just curious what you guys think. Bondo or weld the tiny holes? Like the rockers and the cab corners, I'm going to order new rockers and new cab corners. It's like 25 bucks for a side and like 15 bucks for a side. Like 25 bucks for rockers per side, 15 bucks for cab corners per side, or vice versa. I can't remember which one, but not crazy expensive, and it would just be smarter to weld that in, obviously, because they're so bad, they're so far gone. There's not really any saving that with Bondo. We're just gonna have to cut it all out. I'm not a bodywork guy. I've never done any welding on a vehicle, so we're in this together. First time for everything, you know? I mean, how else are you gonna learn how to do it? Can't learn if you don't do. Okay, so good news and bad news. So good news, The trim is off. Bad news. Some of the door came with this one. And yeah, it's pretty nasty, so this is all just like leftover glue and stuff. This doesn't actually look too bad. It's once we get like to the other side that it starts to get real bad. These are the little pinholes. Like just little stuff like that. Should I weld that? Or should I, like, see, that's pretty bubbly. Do I weld something like that? Or do I just, like, get a little Bondo patch and patch it up with Bondo? I don't know. We're gonna hit this with some soapy water and see what it looks like after that, too. Wipe it down, see what it looks like. There's still some glue on this one. The other side is real bad. Like the door. The door has a really bad spot. I'll show you here. So that's the rear of the bed. Then we get up here. So here's the rear of the door. Pretty nasty. Also pretty nasty. And then I get here. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's like, I'm surprised I didn't like push all the way through it when I was like pushing on that screw to get it out. It's very thin. So that's gonna need patched for sure. Like piece of sheet metal in there, and it's right on the body line too. So that'll be fun. That piece up there was missing before we went and took all this off. This doesn't look too bad. You can see some of that old, that's what the paint used to look like back in the day. Woo-wee. She was a pretty one back then. I mean, it really, like, this paint isn't like awful now, but I'm gonna repaint it. Okay, so I went through, soap and watered that whole area, just kind of cleaned all the dirt. Well, not perfectly, obviously, it looks awful, but just to kind of see how bad the holes really were. I'm thinking all the small stuff, like sand this down, see how bad it actually is, but a lot of this small stuff, I'm probably just gonna Bondo it. The big stuff, you gotta actually just put a piece of sheet metal in there. I don't think you have any other choice. But this side really isn't so bad. It's the passenger side. Like even after, I mean, not that hitting it with soap and water is gonna make the rust go away, but yeah. Not really much else I can do about that. It's just gonna have to get cut out and a piece of sheet metal thrown in there. Guess we'll really test my welding skills. Maybe I'll learn something, who knows. I'm not much of a welder, so that's pretty much it for today's video. I'm gonna try to cut this down, make it real short. I really want feedback. If you guys watched till this point, just let me know what you think. Any tips or tricks on fixing this type of stuff. But yeah, that's about it. If you like this video and want to see a follow-up, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like it, hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you in the next one.